What if the things you see as your biggest flaws aren't flaws at all? What if they're actually your greatest strengths in disguise? Today, we're going to look at the traits that come from a tough childhood and maybe reframe them as this remarkable architecture of survival you built. You know, some childhoods are pretty simple. They're straightforward. But others, well, they're heavy. They're weighed down by this need to grow up way too fast, to be the strong one, long before you were really ready for it. And if that hits home for you, then this is the most important idea we're going to talk about. It's this. The traits you carry with you today, they don't exist because there's something wrong with you. They exist because you brilliantly, beautifully adapted to what was going on around you. Okay, let's dive into what that really means. So let's walk through 7 of these core survival skills. These are the really sophisticated traits you might have built just to endure and get through your world. First up is something we can call extreme independence. And this goes way beyond just, being capable. It's a self-reliance that's etched into your very being. It means you learn to handle pretty much every problem on your own. You hardly ever ask for help, and you probably even hesitate when you know you actually need it. And why is that? Well, somewhere along the way, you learned that depending on other people could be unreliable, maybe even unsafe. So independence, that became your shield. Okay, so let's move on to the next trait, which is kind of like having an emotional radar, this hyper-awareness of the moods of everyone around you. What I love about this is how it's framed. It's not just anxiety, it's a skill. It's that thing where you can walk into a room and just instantly take the emotional temperature. You know the vibe. You developed this to keep an eye on the adults in your life, to stay safe, and now that ability to read people is totally second nature. And of course, being that aware all the time leads us right into our third trait, having a really hard time just fully, truly relaxing. And this just perfectly captures that internal conflict, doesn't it? On the outside, everything could be totally calm, completely peaceful, but inside, your body is still on high alert, almost just waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's not a weakness. That's a nervous system that was trained by unpredictability to stay in a state of constant vigilance. And that feeling keeps building, leading us to our fourth trait, this deep, ingrained sense of over-responsibility for how other people are feeling and acting. This is when you feel like it's your job to make sure everyone is happy. You see a conflict, and your first instinct is to try and fix it. And if someone you know is upset, your brain immediately goes to, what did I do? This usually comes from a childhood where it felt like your job to keep things stable. All that responsibility, that emotional weight, it pretty much guarantees our fifth trait. You just grew up a lot faster than the kids around you. Does any of this sound familiar? People probably told you that you were wise beyond your years, or so mature. You were called the strong one, and you were probably navigating some pretty adult stuff while other kids were just, being kids. And that maturity is very real, but it might have come at the cost of just getting to be a kid. So when you're so busy being the strong one for everybody else, what happens to your own feelings? Well, that takes us to trait number 6, the habit of minimizing your own pain. This is that little voice inside, isn't it? The one that says, oh, it wasn't that bad, or other people had it so much worse. This isn't denial. It's just another brilliant adaptation. When it didn't feel safe or useful to have big emotions, you learned how to make them small, how to pack them away so you could deal with whatever was right in front of you. And finally, because you've lived with its opposite for so long, we get to our 7th trait, a profound, deep appreciation for stability. Because chaos was so draining, you now deeply, deeply value predictability. You value calm environments, clear communication, emotional safety. You don't just like peace, you value it intensely because you know exactly what it feels like to not have it. You never take that feeling of safety for granted. So after identifying all of these incredible survival skills, where does that leave us? Let's talk about the next step, which is all about shifting from just surviving to actually healing, all by adopting a new perspective. Okay, if you take away one single thing from this, please let it be this. These traits are not your flaws. They are your responses. They are proof of your strength. Your mind and your body did exactly what they had to do to protect you in the world that you grew up in. Healing really just means gently teaching yourself that you don't have to live in survival mode 24/7 anymore. It means learning that you are now safe enough to actually ask for help, that you are absolutely allowed to rest, and that it is more than okay to let someone else be the strong one for a little while. And I really want to leave you with this powerful thought. This isn't about glorifying hardship, not at all, but it is about honoring the incredible, powerful resilience that you built because of it. Please remember this. Your adaptation was a masterpiece of survival, and now your healing can be your masterpiece of growth. That architecture you built to survive has made you unbelievably strong. Now it's time to let it also make you free. You adapted, and now you can heal.